No, I was probably in my late 20s at this point.
Years
so
ago.
I was finally a real dad.
That's right.
I was late 20s, already had kids, married, had been at the church for a long time, and it was a family that had some kind of issue with another church and had left, which are always, it's always an interesting situation when you have a family move because they got pissed off at
and now they're
church.
gonna let you
So after the service, led worship. This is still in the era where there's this debate over what kind of worship style should we do. The church I was in, there was almost this understanding from the organist and pianist, you better do at least one hymn every week. And I'd ask him every week, what do you consider a hymn? You know what I mean? Because anyways, this guy comes up to me after the service, and we were doing things. I mean, this is, I don't know how long ago that was, more than 10 years ago now. I don't know what songs we were doing, but it was probably stuff like, Tomlin and Crowder and stuff like that. So at that point, semi-modern worship. And he comes up to me and said, hey, if someone told you that your worship music was offensive to them, would you stop playing it? And he had no idea who he was. My wife after this says, you got to get a shirt that says something like, beware of asking stupid questions. And I said, well, no, but just out of curiosity, why do you ask? I was trying to give him an in. Well, he said, he takes me to Corinthians and goes, well, see, if what Paul says is that if you, cause a weaker brother to stumble, you shouldn't do it. But there's so many things running through my head. Are you admitting in this moment that you're stupid and weak?
Yeah.
Anyways, what he was trying to say was, I disagree with the music you're playing, so stop doing it. And I just asked him, I said, so why do you disagree with the music? And he goes, because we shouldn't have anything in our life that's influenced by the world. And what you're playing, no joke, here's the quote, verbatim. He goes, what you're playing is rock music, and that's of the world. And then those of you who know me, you can just see this wave of chaos that's about to pour down on this guy. And I was super gracious kind of about it.
Super gracious, borderline.
I was more gracious.
Super.
I was more gracious than you probably would expect me to be in a situation like this. This is a better way to say it. And I said to him, he was wearing a shirt and tie, and I said, hey, just out of curiosity, you're wearing a tie today. I was like, why are you wearing a tie? He goes, because I'm dressing nice. I was like, based on what standard? Is it a biblical standard, or is it something that was influenced by the world?
Yeah.
And it was a long conversation, but my point was, what I really wanted to say is, you're an idiot. Stop asking stupid questions. But what I'm saying is, he tried to, because he was defensive about his perspective of what music is okay or not okay. Instead of just saying, hey, look, man, the music you're playing is not my preference. I don't actually think it's okay. And we could have had a legitimate conversation. But the moment he tried to bring in the scripture, it changes the whole conversation. If he had just said, hey, this isn't my preference, I don't like it, then we could have a legitimate conversation. There's no division.
Right.
You know what's, and this is just me, I'm this kind of guy, but I literally had no desire to have any conversation with him again after that because of the way he handled the conversation. He wasn't very gracious. He was trying to hit and didn't. I think when he realized, I look like I'm young, so imagine me in my mid to late 20s. I look like I'm 18, so he's probably thinking here's this kid, I'm just gonna blast him. And then when I responded in kind, in strength with the scripture, he probably didn't respond well. But that's my point, is I think our tendency is to be so defensive about our preferences that sometimes we even try to defend our preferences from the scripture. And to your point, Ryan, that's problematic, because what we're saying is what I think is right, not based on what the scripture says or based on Jesus, but just my preferences. What I think is right has more value than Jesus.
Yeah.